Yo, so it's my second video of the day, and both videos I really didn't want to do, right? I really didn't want to do the video about Dana Do and Jessica too, and I really didn't want to do this video either because, I mean, honestly, I like DTK, you know, and it kind of came up because it was his birthday the other day, and I was out, helping Logan Visuals on Instagram, look at the tune on his car and see if it was stock or not stock, because he pulled against a stage two, quote unquote, E63 wagon when he was in an E63S, and he said the wagon was an S. I'm not sure, but let's say it was an S. And I mentioned DTK's like parts for his car, and he's like, "Who's DTK?" And that was a comment I've heard a couple times. Is like, "Who is DTK?" Right? And the usual responses are, there's been even threads about this, and you should check them out. But basically, he's a legend, if you will. He was gone too soon. And let's just jump into who DTK is from the AMG standpoint. And there's people far better to talk about DTK, but I did interview him. You might want to check out his interview on Tune Mercedes. The sense I got was he tried to be helpful, right? He tried to keep his prices very reasonable, like so reasonable. In fact, when I interviewed him, he was like, I don't want to. He was basically like, "What the fuck are these other assholes doing? Like with charging so much?" Like I had to edit his interview because like he was just like, "Can you believe how much these people are charging for a pulley?" I couldn't. So I went out and started DTK Motorsports. So DTK, or Dimitri, I think he's from Georgia, right? He would have been 31 this year. So he died when he was 30. And that's what I was alluding to. I really didn't want to do this video. You know what I mean? Like, I would hope that he would still be alive. But he died in a car crash about a year ago. A little less than a year ago, I guess. About 7 months ago, maybe. But there's been a lot of moving, like, tributes to him. So, and kind of the biggest thing I can comment on is what he meant to the AMG world, right? And what he meant to the AMG world was, he meant like he was a low cost provider of high quality parts that were like, not just bullshit parts. They weren't just pulleys. Like they weren't just easy to make. Like he had turbos, and he had a DTK 1000 package for the M157 platform, which is basically like $10,000 or something, and it would bring your car to 1,000 horsepower crank. And he had a 789 horsepower at wheel CLS, rear wheel drive. The guy loved to roll race. That was his big thing. And he loved drifting, so there were some really great videos of him drifting. I'll try to pull some of those up. But I believe he was also a father. And, obviously he was just, lost too soon. And I think he was driving a McLaren, or he wasn't driving, he was a passenger. And so Philip really didn't like DTK and said some very negative things towards him, right? Because he kind of undercut Philip a lot sometimes. And there's some very interesting back and forth on the threads on the MB world. And I don't even think DTK is part of them. I think people are just like, "Hey, look at this." And Philip would say things like, "I wouldn't send my money to Georgia." And other people would say, like, "That's rich coming from you." But I mean, honestly, Philip is a viable supplier too. He might, but I would probably put DTK and Philip in the same sort of category, of like AMG parts without AMG tax, right? So for example, and why DTK is still really important to enthusiasts is because like DTKM, his motorsport company, which he founded in 2015, still is running and supplies really nice parts. For example, they just supplied a part for like basically it's kind of like a Black Boost knockoff that's like, I don't know, $750 instead of $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever Black Boost is charging. Now the fit and fitment and everything of Black Boost is going to be better. You know what I mean? But that's sort of where DTKM comes in. Is like he was making things like the equivalent of a W4 WiseTech upgrade for about 50% less than WiseTech. And that's why it was a big deal. That's why people should know him. And from just purely selfish AMG viewpoint, you know, he was also a father, I believe, and you know, I don't know enough about him as a person, but it sounds like he was really loved. And I mean, I wish his family the best, but it's very cool that his legacy lives on with his DTKM, DTK Motorsports. And yeah, man, he just had a lot of passion. He was a really fun guy, and you know, and I'm just saying that purely from like his enthusiastic point. You know what I mean? Like he really wasn't just about money or just about like 200. You know, I don't know. He wasn't that dramaful. You know what I mean? He was just fun. You know, if you kind of get a sense of people from like what they're about, and in business, DTK it was fun, man. The projects he did were fun, and you know, he had fun. Like there's a couple videos of him just, you know, tearing up the track, and I wish I could say more because I didn't know him, you know, as well as I would have liked to, given, you know, at the time I was hoping that, you know, we would probably, I don't know, have a track day or I could sell more of his parts or something, you know, but I can say that, you know, it's really nice that he lives on, his legacy lives on. And it's that's really cool. All right. I wish I could say more, but oh yeah, here's his Scorpion mount, air coolers. Oh, here, we gotta watch this. I'm up on my flags, bitch, I'm decked up on blue bills, and I won't stop until the cash pit look like fall leaves in a bag fill. Tell her out of my face if she coming with that bullshit. Quick to say my piece, I'm so after school special. She brainy, but them jeans looking like paint. So even today, like, you know, a lot of people are on Tune Mercedes talking about the parts they just picked up from DTK. And I think those are top mount intercoolers in this setup, which is a really nice setup, you know, so you get the Scorpion intakes with top mount intercoolers, because those are two huge restrictions on the car, the intercooler and the intakes. And he just figured out what would make the cars go faster and did them. You know, like these parts weren't, you know, they weren't like made for cars and coffee. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were made to go fast and have fun. So, all right, guys, if you're looking for like a Black Boost or, you know, other like a turbocharger or something, you might want to consider DTKM. And, you know, it's still running even though DTK is gone, unfortunately, too soon before his 31st.